Here we have 3 volumes that were written by Melvin Johnson. He had the assistance of Mr. Haven on 2 of the 3 books. These were all around World War II, late 30s, early 40s, covering various military rifles. And Johnson, of course, is the inventor of the Johnson semi-automatic rifle that competed against the Garand, along with the various Johnson light machine guns. Very interesting books. These, unlike most of the books I've got for sale, these are really old. These books are in pretty worn condition. Covers are long gone. As you can see, some damage. This, of course, none of these books are being sold as collector items. They're still good, readable books. They're not falling apart, even though they've got a lot of wear, a little bit of tear. This book, you can see, by Melvin Johnson. He was a Marine Corps captain in the Charles Haven. At one point it was property of USMC Library. I can assure you it was properly sold off. It's not a stolen book from 70 years ago. Originally copywritten in 1941. Looks like this was a second printing in April of 42. It covers various small arms developments. Looks like it starts out way back in the old days with various black powder multi-firing arms, and it heads towards the state-of-the-art weapons in World War II. You can see it covers various automatic pistols. We're of course heading towards Johnson's specialty, automatic rifles and his light machine guns. You can see he covers various guns used in the First World War, all sorts of experimental stuff that was in development in the 1930s. The 30s were a very, very productive decade. Lots of work was being done around the world. You can see various, and these look like I'm trying to read and look at the same time, various semi-automatic prototypes and various sporting guns. Post-war, when they say post-war, they're talking about World War I, of course. And this must have been very early 1942, because they've got information about the various M1 carbine prototypes and production, and it looks like they have settled on the ultimate design. You can see once again there is some damage. It's not a minty book. But you can also see that the pages, everything is clear. It's not a total disaster. It's an old book. Lots of information. Very, very well researched by one of the men that was putting the guns together that we love 60 and 70 years later. Another book, Automatic Weapons of the World. And this one, clearly in much better, much more solid condition. And I never really sat down to read these. I have paged through them, of course. I would have to assume that there is a lot of overlap, a lot of the same material being covered. You can tell that just, of course, by the titles involved. You can see that Melvin Johnson was involved with Haven on a couple of different books. Ammunition, its history of Colt revolvers. Or that, actually, I take that back. That was Haven's book. Rifles and machine guns, practical marksmanship. This pair was quite involved back in the 30s and 40s with guns that we love today. And I would assume that these books were okay. There's a PTRS anti-tank rifle. This must be a post-World War II book. I was looking for a publication date. It didn't jump out at me. Various semi-automatic pistols. And once again, I see various World War II designs jumping out. And there we've got Tokarev's. We've got an experimental Swiss rifle. One of Johnson's guns, and you can see information about Johnson's developmental line. Lots and lots of good information on the World War II era automatic and semi-automatic weapons. Book itself, much nicer, much better condition, good solid book. If it had a dust cover, I would say it's very good. Very good, pushing almost excellent for a book 60 plus years old. Okay, this one is Rifles and Machine Guns by Johnson alone. Evidently he did this one without Mr. Haven's assistance. And this volume, I would say it's clearly much better shape than this one. Almost, but perhaps not as solid. I take that back. It's about in the same condition as, what was it, Automatic Weapons of the World. And this one looks like, in addition to the long guns, it has information about ammunition, aircraft cannon, all sorts of light and heavy machine guns. It's got line drawings of various World War II submachine guns. A lot of line drawings, very, very cool. Old black and white photos. I think I can assume, without having read it and having only paged through it, this was the state of the art in terms of information in the immediate post-war period. And I'll see if I can find a publication date. 1944, it wasn't even post-war. So, World War II, firearms, that's what they thought of them back in 44. One thing worth mentioning about Johnson's books, we've got some very nice fold-out prints, and this is the Rifles and Machine Gun book. And this is Drawing and Ballistic of Military Ammunition, 30 caliber to 40 millimeter. And I don't have a ruler in front of me, but this is, I don't know, maybe a foot and a half. It's hard to tell without a ruler in hand, but a very nice print, and the foldout is in very nice condition. And once again, it covers up to the large 40 millimeter, 20 millimeter anti-tank cannon, whatever the 40 millimeters were used for, anti-tank or anti-aircraft. But very nice foldout. And once again, this one is Rifles and Machine Guns by Johnson. Okay, fold out Automatic Weapons of the World. And we've got all sorts of nice line drawings in the back here. Drawings in ballistics and military ammunition. And this appears to be the same thing we just saw, except the bulk of it is not a fold out. It looks like the fold-out is restricted to the larger, what are these, 37 millimeter anti-tank cannons, projectiles. Then we have got various prints. We've got prints on the Gatling gun, on the early Garand, gas trap Garand. We've got the Rising, various submachine guns. And some of these, for example, the Vickers, this appears to be right out of a field manual, probably a Brit field manual. And these were presumably all taken from various foreign field manuals. Okay, we've got a nice fold out on the early, I think this was referred to as the potato digger. The early 1895-1914 Browning light machine gun. On the back side we have got the 1917 heavy machine gun, and these foldouts appear to be in nice condition. Okay, we've got a Vickers, and that's a beautiful print. Vickers and early French, and there's a Hotchkiss. and a Lewis gun. And I always get the pronunciation wrong. The French, what is it, Shosho? Early light machine gun, automatic rifle. On the back we've got a variant of the BAR. And Mr. Johnson was proud of his rifle. He gave us a nice cutaway, a nice fold out of his own rifle, along with his light machine gun. And it looks like he gave us a little bit more on his light machine gun. Very nice print. MG34 and a 42. Once again, these books are in nice condition. There were, I should say, foldouts with this other volume, but they are gone. And once again, the condition on this one, readable, but it's got a lot of wear and tear on it. I don't want any disappointment. And I haven't gone through and looked page by page for any missing pages. None jump out at me. The only reason why I'm aware that the foldouts are missing is because I was looking in these two and looked in the third and they're not there. But the books are in nice condition. I think you'll like them.